Hi, I'm LeeAnn Arrington, and I am the senior coxswain for the varsity 8.
LeeAnn, a week ago your team was watching the NCAA selection show. A year after watching it and not being selected, you were this year. What were your emotions on that day?
I felt like I was going to throw up all day. It was excited, but also very nervous. We really had no idea what was going to happen. But we had such a great race at GNACs that we were happy either way. And just seeing our name pop up on the screen was just cherry on top, that we get to continue and go have another great race. But so stressful.
Yeah, I bet. Now, it's been a week since then, and the Nationals Championship Regatta is this weekend, Sarasota, Florida. What has the team been doing since the selection?
Since then, we have been just training new speed. We unlocked a new level at GNACs, and so we've just pushed this last week to find the next one. And we know kind of how these other teams have raced. We know their speed, so we've just been trying to push ourselves.
One of the real unique things about rowing is you've been practicing now, but not in the racing shell you will use in Florida. Tell us about where those are and that process.
So our boats that we typically race did not come back from GNACs. They went straight to Florida. It was kind of a last-minute decision to send them on a trailer that was already going, and in the hopes that we would meet them there.
Yeah.
And it turns out it worked out perfectly. So we've been practicing in some of our other boats, and we are very excited to be back in the boats that we typically race.
Bet you are. And how about the oars? How do those get there to Florida?
The oars, we travel them as special luggage on the plane. So some of our rowers carry them through the airport, get them checked in. We get quite a few looks walking through the airport, but they get there safe.
Very good. Well, I'm sure you're happy to be meeting your shells down there. You've been earlier this year, mid-season, down to Sarasota before at Nathan Benderson Park. Rode in a regatta with a bunch of teams from the South. How much of an edge does that give you to have been on that race course before?
Quite a bit for me as a coxswain. Just familiar with the course is extremely helpful, knowing the landmarks and how the warm-up area is set up, the directions you're supposed to go, the wind conditions. It's extremely helpful for me to have been on the course before, just for familiar reasons and a little bit less stressful, not being in a new environment.
Well, to the average person, water is water. Wherever you row, it's all the same. But water tends to be warmer in Florida, and particularly in Sarasota. How will that impact how you call a race?
So warmer water allows us to go a little faster than colder water. So this week we've been practicing hitting faster splits and hitting faster speeds, anticipating what we're going to see in the water in Florida. So it's been really hard to find that same speed here in our colder water, but we've been able to do it, and we're just anticipating being a little faster there.
Great. First day of racing is on Friday, and that's a heat where 3 teams in a heat. Only the winner advances directly to the grand final. The other 2 in that heat, the second and third place finishers, go into a rep that same day. What approach do you take to the heat?
We approach the heat just with all we can. We want to give our best performance every race, no matter how many times we race. So we really want to find ourselves and not worry about the results on the other teams. We just want to row our best race each time. So approaching the heat, it's just do what we can, focus on ourselves, and just give it all we got. And if we win, that's awesome. But we're not too worried if we don't, because we'd have another chance later that day to prove that we could be in the grand final.
Great. And later that day is the repechage, where 2 of the 4 teams in that race will advance to the grand final as well. Question for you: you have not rowed at NCAA Championships before, in fact, or competed there. Really, the only one is J.J. Hogue. Mm-hmm. How will you, as a coxswain, or the coaches, kind of prepare the team or settle nerves or for that first NCAA Championship race?
Yeah, we've been relying a lot on JJ. She is the only one that's been there. She's our team leader. And she happens to be my stroke seat. I get to look at her face all day, every day. And so just preparing for this championship, we've kind of just had to rely on her a lot. And I get to have this communication with her as we're in the boat. And she can communicate things to me. I can ask her questions. And it's been really helpful to have her on the team to answer all of our questions.
Now, she joined your varsity crew fairly late in the season for the last two regattas, but still was honored as the GNAC Rower of the Year. Why do you think she received that award?
She earned it. She always pushes herself, no matter how she's feeling that day. She has pushed us to greater speeds, and she was in the varsity 4 and was making that 4 go so fast, and so we tested it out in the 8, and she made the 8 go really fast. So she has just pushed the entire team to reach new levels.
Great. JJ was on the All GNAC, the conference team, as was Macy Leach, and you were on that. What were your feelings when you found out you were on the All Conference team?
I was a little surprised, because as a coxswain, I think it kind of just, sometimes I get kind of forgotten about, not in a bad way, but I'm not, one of the athletes doing the really hard work, pulling the oars. So I was kind of surprised, but it was a great honor to be standing next to JJ and to Macy. They're incredible young women and athletes and scholars, and it was just an honor to be up there with them.
Well, I think you're underselling your position in the boat quite a bit there. In 10 seconds, can you tell us all the things or some of the primary things that coxswain is doing during the race that people may not be aware of?
Yeah. So in the race, I am in charge of really taking control and telling them exactly what to do. We always sit down and we have a written out race plan that we call, like, at 500 meters, this is what we're going to do. At this meter, this is what we're going to do. And I'm in charge of remembering all that and calling it. But I'm also the one who can be in a race and look out and see other crews and throw that race plan out the window if I need to, if we need to do something else. So I make a lot of kind of last minute decisions and doing what I can to push our boat against other crews.
Great. And also you're dictating the rate of rowing and you're steering the boat. So a lot going on there. Speaking of that, you mentioned that your varsity crew took it to another level at the GNAC Championships. In fact, that second place performance very likely was what put the team into the NCAA Championships. The start, though, wasn't the best thing. Tell us what happened there at the start of the GNACs.
So at the start, this is a stake boat start, so we are attached to someone holding the end of our boat. So all crews are starting from the exact same point. We get attached to the stake boat 2 minutes before start time. And in those 2 minutes, I'm in charge of making sure our boat stays pointed directly down the course. And there was like some varying directions of wind going on that course. And so I was adjusting and getting everything situated. And when they decided to give the start commands, we were not pointed straight down the course. So it was a little unnerving and a little scary, but we were able to get back onto the course straight as soon as possible, and we're still holding on to all the other crews.
So that kind of odd start left you in 4th place. In the back of that, your team walked through 2 other really good crews. How did the team do it?
They were focused on themselves, and we had committed to this race just being like our last race, like giving it all we had. And yeah, they just caught right back up to Humboldt so fast. And I'm like, yeah, you guys just keep doing what you're doing. Like, just keep doing you. I had a pretty easy job that race. They just kept doing what they were doing, and it worked through 2 boats.
Certainly did. And the other boat was defending national champion Central Oklahoma, which SPU hadn't defeated before, and you came within a second of Western Washington. Let's just talk briefly about yourself. Tell us where you're from.
I'm from Oklahoma.
And you do not have a rowing background. Talk about your sports background.
I did gymnastics for 17 years, and then I also coached gymnastics as well. So coming to SPU, the coaches were like, hey, you know how to coach. you want to be a coxswain and teach rowing. So it was a good transition.
At the time, when your first day at practice as a coxswain, did you ever envision you would be directing SPU's top boat at national championships?
No, not at all. And I still didn't really even know what rowing was. And there's still parts of it today that it's a brand new sport, and it's taken 4 years to to get the hang of it. But I would never have imagined being in this position today.
Great. And lastly, tell us what you're majoring in.
Creative writing.
And what is the future for you?
Future for me after graduation, I'm going to go back home to Oklahoma. I want to use my degree to write books, kind of in my spare time. I also have a job coaching gymnastics when I get back, and really just enjoying being with my family. I don't have blood family here in Washington. I've made a lot of really good, close family friends here, but just really enjoying being around family and just soaking it up while I'm home.
You mentioned family. You entered SPU as LeeAnn Arrington, and now it's LeeAnn Bowers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got married my sophomore year to my husband, Jeffrey. He still lives in Oklahoma, so we've been doing this long distance the past 3 years, I guess. So it's been kind of, it's been hard, but it's been great to kind of be our own people, and he always watches all of our live streams of our races, and he's a great supporter.
Great. Well, LeeAnn, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, and good luck at NCAA Championships.
Thank you.